Have you ever had that feeling, that deep longing for a job that just clicks? Where you wake up and you feel genuinely purposeful, like fulfilled, like you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, I think everyone searches for that, really. It's a universal thing.
It really is. We all want that alignment.
Absolutely. And that sweet spot you're describing, it actually has a name in ancient Japanese philosophy, Ikigai.
Ikigai.
Right.
Yeah.
It's basically where four circles overlap. What you love doing, what you're really good at, what the world genuinely needs, and, well, what you can actually get paid for.
Finding that intersection, that's the dream for so many people, isn't it?
It is. It's the ultimate career goal, maybe.
So that's our mission for this deep dive today. We're going to explore a very, very modern career path, GenAI prompt engineering, through this, ancient wisdom lens. The big question, is being a GenAI prompt engineer a good Ikigai?
That's a fascinating question. Applying that deep philosophy to something so cutting edge.
Exactly. And to help us unpack it, we're drawing on this really interesting multi-agent debate we found. It had different perspectives, conservative, liberal, and sort of scientific, pragmatic, all weighing in.
Right.
So it should give you, the listener, a really good shortcut to getting your head around the different angles on this.
Yeah, what's great is seeing how these, distinct viewpoints tackle a brand new role using such a fundamentally human framework. It really speaks to those timeless questions about work and purpose.
Totally. Okay, let's unpack this. First things first, maybe just a quick definition. What is a Gen AI prompt engineer?
Good point. So in simple terms, they're the people who shape how we interact with AI. They craft the prompts, the instructions to guide the AI to help it understand what we need and, respond effectively, get the best possible results out of it.
So they're like expert communicators, but for talking to AI.
That's a perfect way to put it. Yeah. Translators between messy human intention and the AI's logic.
Got it. And we're using those 4 pillars of Ikigai as our guide, right? Love, good at, world needs, paid for.
Exactly. That's the framework for the analysis.
Okay, let's dive into the first perspective then. Agent A, coming at it from a conservative lens, what was their take? They tend to value, tradition, stability.
Right. Stability and tangible contributions to society. That was key.
So how did they see prompt engineering fitting in?
Well, first they looked at the value to society. Agent A actually saw potential there. They noted engineers could contribute meaningfully by shaping AI for, say, healthcare, education, business.
Okay, practical applications.
Exactly. Things that improve quality of life, support communities in tangible ways. It aligns with that conservative ideal of positive contribution, often strengthening existing structures.
Makes sense. But what about economic stability? That feels pretty central to a conservative view. Self-reliance, long-term value.
It is. And Agent A definitely brought this up. They acknowledged the role is lucrative now, high demand.
Yeah, you hear about the salaries.
Right. But they raised a flag about long-term viability. AI evolves so incredibly fast. Is this specific skill set going to be needed in 5-10 years? Or will the AI get better at understanding us directly?
That's a fair question. The risk of obsolescence, is that like a conservative blind spot to rapid change, or maybe practical foresight others miss?
I think they'd argue it's practical foresight. It emphasizes the need for the engineer to constantly adapt, anticipate shifts to ensure they remain valuable. It questions the long-term stability of hyper-specialized roles in fields this dynamic.
Okay. What else did Agent A focus on?
Ethical alignment was huge, making sure the AI work aligns with sort of traditional values, privacy, security, human dignity.
So being a responsible steward of the tech.
Precisely. They stressed the need for engineers to be conscientious, to participate in creating robust ethical frameworks, guardrails to prevent misuse.
And I imagine skills came up.
Oh, yeah, skills and passion, but with a real emphasis on continuous learning, ongoing education to stay relevant, honing the craft.
Right.
And interestingly, they also talked about community and tradition.
How so?
Pushing for collaboration with universities, industry, government to build a strong AI ecosystem. But critically, ensuring AI supports rather than disrupts traditional community values and structures.
Okay, interesting angle. And finally,
workforce implications. Thinking broadly about AI's impact on jobs overall. The need for retraining, making sure the economic benefits aren't just concentrated among a few AI experts, but are distributed more widely.
got it. So the conservative takeaway is potential, yes, but with caution. A need to balance the new with the old.
Exactly. Careful long-term evaluation. Balancing the excitement of innovation with preserving core societal values and ensuring stability. Progress, but make it sustainable and broadly beneficial within a known framework.
Okay. That definitely grounds the conversation.
Right.
Let's shift gears. Agent B, the liberal perspective. Prioritizing social progress, innovation, inclusivity. How do they view this prompt engineer role as an Ikigai?
Well, Agent B came out swinging on social progress and innovation. They saw prompt engineers as potentially revolutionary
How so?
by changing how we interact with technology, making it more accessible, democratizing information and services, using AI as a tool for equality, for progress, making sure its benefits reach everyone, not just, the tech savvy.
That connects strongly to liberal values. What about the individual engineer?
Agent B really highlighted adaptability and lifelong learning. This wasn't just a practical need like for Agent A, but almost a positive value in itself.
Interesting. Why more so from this perspective?
Because the dynamic nature of AI offers constant chances for growth, personal and professional development.
Okay.
It fosters a mindset of evolution. They framed it as inherently exciting and fulfilling for the individual.
Okay.
Then they pivoted hard to ethical responsibility and inclusivity. This was absolutely poor for Agent B.
Going beyond just avoiding misuse, like Agent A mentioned.
Yes. It was about proactively designing AI systems to be fair, unbiased, and inclusive. Actively fighting bias in algorithms, ensuring the tech specifically benefits marginalized communities.
Like accessibility.
Exactly. Enhancing accessibility for people with disabilities, breaking down language barriers, using AI to level the playing field.
So a real focus on positive social engineering through the tech.
You could say that. They also stressed collaboration and community engagement, working in diverse teams, bringing in lots of perspectives to make sure the AI reflects a wider world.
And they even brought in the environment.
They did. Environmental sustainability. Focusing on how AI could help sustainability, optimizing energy, reducing waste, aligning tech development with green goals.
Okay. Any other key points for Agent B?
Ethical AI governance, pushing for policies ensuring transparency, accountability, protecting user data, preventing algorithmic harm, and also global connectivity, using AI to foster cross-cultural understanding, collaborating internationally, considering diverse cultural contexts when building AI solutions.
Wow. Okay. So the liberal takeaway is pretty optimistic. Significant potential for Ikigai.
Very much so. If you're driving innovation, upholding strong ethical standards focused on inclusivity and fairness, contributing to social and environmental good, and embracing that constant learning, then yes, huge potential.
All right, so we've got tradition and stability from A, progress and inclusivity from B. What about Agent C? The scientific and pragmatic lens, how did they analyze the prompt engineer role?
Agent C's focus was immediately on scientific contribution and innovation.
Right.
They see the role as technically crucial, shaping AI systems to be more efficient, more accurate, more capable. It's about advancing the state of the art, pushing boundaries, the core scientific drive.
Makes sense. Purely advancing the technology itself. How did they handle the ethics part? Was it different from A and B?
It was, yeah. More focused on process and verification. Under ethical frameworks and decision-making, Agent C prioritized making AI unbiased, transparent, and private through rigorous testing and validation.
So less about inherent values, more about measurable outcomes.
Exactly. Building robust frameworks that can be scientifically tested and verified. It's a pragmatic approach to ethics. Can we prove it's fair? Can we measure the bias?
Okay. And career longevity. Agent A worried about it. Agent B saw learning as a plus. What about C?
For Agent C, career longevity and skill development was just a practical necessity, non-negotiable.
Like Agent A, but maybe less about tradition.
Yes. Less about preserving stability, more about staying effective in a rapidly changing technical field. Continuous learning isn't just good, it's essential to future-proof your career, a pragmatic requirement for survival and success.
Got it. Now, something I found really interesting from Agent C was the emphasis on interdisciplinary synergy.
Oh, absolutely. That was key.
I feel like this role isn't just about coding or language, is it?
Not at all. Agent C highlighted the inherent need for prompt engineers to collaborate across fields, computer science, sure, but also linguistics, psychology, ethics, domain experts. It's not just to make the AI better, though it does that. It leads to more holistic solutions. And, importantly for Ikigai, it enriches the engineer's own growth through exposure to diverse ways of thinking.
That makes a lot of sense. What else?
Finally, Agent C also touched on the impact on society and the environment, much like B, but perhaps from a more problem-solving angle.
How so?
Recognizing AI's potential to tackle huge global challenges, climate change, healthcare, education inequality. The prompt engineer's role is crucial in developing effective, practical solutions that promote sustainability and equity. It's about demonstrable impact.
So the scientific and pragmatic takeaway is another yes, but with caveats focused on rigor.
Essentially, yes, it can be a fulfilling Ikigai, provided there's a strong focus on innovation, on a verifiable ethical responsibility, on relentless learning, and a proactive, results-oriented approach to societal impact.
Okay, so we've heard three really distinct perspectives: conservative, liberal, scientific, pragmatic. But when you step back, despite the different angles, they actually agreed on quite a bit, didn't they?
They really did. It's fascinating. When you connect the dots, some core themes just kept surfacing, regardless of the initial viewpoint.
Like what? What was the big one?
Well, the absolute undeniable necessity of ethical responsibility. Everyone agreed on this.
Right. Whether it was about preserving dignity, promoting fairness, or just ensuring verifiable, unbiased systems.
Exactly. The how might differ slightly, the emphasis, but the fundamental importance of ethics in AI development. Non-negotiable across the board, that's a massive takeaway.
Huge. And another one seemed to be about learning.
Absolutely. The imperative of lifelong learning and continuous adaptation.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if you saw it as necessary for stability, exciting for personal growth, or just pragmatically required to stay relevant. Everyone agreed you simply have to keep learning in this field for it to be a sustainable Ikigai.
Constant evolution. Okay, what else?
The profound societal impact of AI, again, universal agreement, and the critical role the prompt engineer plays in shaping that impact positively. Whether you frame it as community contributions, social progress, or solving global problems, the work matters. Its significance was recognized by all.
That's powerful. And the last big one.
I think it boils down to the importance of aligning personal values with the technology.
Back to the core of Ikigai.
Precisely. Making sure the work you do, especially with something as powerful as AI, resonates with your own sense of purpose and ethics. That need for personal alignment was consistent, even if the specific values emphasized varied a bit between the perspectives. So yeah, the debate didn't give a simple yes or no. It showed the complexity, the nuances, the opportunities. It made it clear that finding a good Ikigai here isn't about a fixed answer.
It's more of a journey.
Exactly, a dynamic journey of constantly checking in, assessing, and aligning your skills, your passions, what the world seems to need at that moment, and yes, what you can get paid for.
Yeah. So wrapping this up.
Yeah.
What does all this mean for you, the listener, thinking about this?
Well, it suggests finding your Ikigai, especially in a field like AI that's moving so fast, isn't just about landing a specific job title like prompt engineer.
It's deeper than that.
Much deeper. It's about how you approach the work, the values you bring to it, the ethical considerations you prioritize every day.
And that commitment to growth we talked about.
Absolutely. That commitment to continuous learning and making a positive impact, however you define that, based on your own values.
So maybe a final thought to leave people with. Something to chew on.
Yeah, perhaps this. As AI keeps evolving at this breakneck pace, will our definition of what the world needs shift so rapidly that maybe our Ikigai has to become less about finding one specific, stable role and more about cultivating a mindset of adaptable, ethical contribution, ready to pivot as the needs change.
Wow. That's definitely something to ponder. Less about the job title, more about the approach.
Maybe. Something to think about as we navigate